Last night we invented a new term, and the term is called primal. It's an anagram of RPA, AI, and ML. And I thought this was perfect for this conference this week. That's all I hear about. So primal is the future. We're on? Okay, let me start this. So hi, I'm Denis Gagne from Trisotech. And today I want to show you how line of business people can extract value from AI, microservice, APIs, and legacy technology using what we call business automation as a service. So the cloud future is well on its way. By now, we have actually reached the cloud tipping point where more than half of enterprises are using a cloud strategy. But in the meantime, we're in an hybrid world, and we have to deal with it. Leading-edge organizations are using a microservice architecture. A microservice architecture is basically a single function module with defined interface and operation that are called APIs. The way we're doing or developing application is always also changing. We're basically transitioning from DevOps to biz DevOps, where companies are starting to actively engage their business with the development and operation teams. So here we are with the API economy growing very rapidly, and companies recognizing that they have to start using this new strategic blueprint, making API a central part of their infrastructure and growth strategy. To meet the demand of digital transformation, digital enterprise solutions need to use this new modern context, be customer-focused, led by business, scalable, and secured. But on the way to digital transformation, companies are seeking the simplicity of smartphone apps, whether it is for interacting with their system of records, handling day-to-day operations, or communicating with their partners and consumers. So today, I'm happy to introduce Trisotech Business Automation as a Service. It's an API-first, container-based, scalable cloud infrastructure for business automation, and basically enabling complex business automation while being simple. So digital transformation is more than just automation, but automation is a key enabler of digital transformation. We all know here that process automation is crucial to the customer experience during the customer journey. So what is intelligent business automation? Basically, intelligent business automation is combining efficient doers with effective thinkers. So orchestrating business process with business decisions. So Trisotech Business Automation as a Service offers all the capability to orchestrate process and decisions together, from creation and packaging all the way to testing and management. So this new environment stimulates innovation and facilitates automation. Basically, individuals and organizations are working smarter by automating process and operating decisions across apps, data, and smart objects. So Trisotech is leading the next wave of business automation, offering the simplicity and the ease of use of personal process apps and bringing it to the enterprise. Simple, intuitive interfaces while maintaining the technical expressiveness that is required. So not only does Trisotech Business Automation offers out-of-the-box connectivity to the full Microsoft stacks, whether it's Dynamics or Office or everything, we also offer connectivity to IoT and any other external service via Open API. So process and decision service have a multitude of users, but they must connect to a plethora of data sources in order to provide the business benefits they can bring, whether it's on-premise, in private cloud, or public cloud. So let's talk about personal automation. The goal here is to keep simple things simple. The business user should be able to draw what he wants to happen. So for example, on a tweet with the hashtag Trisotech, turn on a light. When it comes to more complex enterprise automation, we want to translate this complexity into simplicity. Basically, the business user should be able to depict the logic that he wants to happen without having to worry about the underlying complexity. Trisotech Business Automation as a Service will have an impact on all your aspects of your business, from digital strategy, customer engagement, employee productivity, operations, and even governance. Disruptive tools lead to disruptive ideas, leads to disruptive practice. Our platform offers a quick start, low initial cost that grows with value. So basically, we're offering faster, easier, and smarter. So let me now demo and showcase how the simplicity with which simple process automation can be created, and then show how more complex enterprise application can be created with the same simplicity. So that's my spiel. I can now relax. Shaking. Okay, so let's have fun. Here's a BPMN diagram. I need my demo glasses. So basically what I have here is a BPMN trigger. So I can go look at the actual trigger. And you'll notice that I'm using a Twitter operations, and I'm looking for the hashtag .Trisotech. I'm then going to a IoT device. I have a light, and my data input mapping, I'm using the API from this device. And it's basically turning the light blue. So we have a full collection of connectors and operators that are out of the box available, and this is growing very rapidly. And just because Sandy requested it in her presentation just before me, we also have a full capability of bringing in any open API definition Swagger file to connect to anything else that is properly defined. So now I want to publish this. So I'm just going to publish this service. You'll notice here that I can pick the repository where I publish. I'm publishing in the bpmNEXT repository. This could be, a test environment, a development environment, or the operational environment. You'll notice that it's looking at my identity for the different services that I'm using. So for example, maybe I want to deploy in a test environment using some kind of test identity, where when I'm going to go deploy it into operation, I may want to use different identity. So I'm publishing this service. It's a one-click publish. So now I have my Twitter service that is there. Very similarly, out of the box, on the fly, I get an HTML form to exercise this. I get a REST API for it. I get an open API definition for it. So that's all out of the box. More interestingly, could somebody tweet Trisotech, please? Hashtag Trisotech, or I'll do it. Oh, somebody did. So basically, as simple as that, we just created this service. Thank you for the other tweet. Thank you. So I'm going to delete this service now, because it's going to flash in my face. And we're going to start having fun. So now, I'm going to add machine learning to this. So I dropped in from my canvas a Microsoft text analysis functionality, in particular the sentiment one. So I have a data object here. So now what I did, excuse me, if I wasn't shaking so much. So basically here, I have my mapping. I'm taking the Twitter stream.txt and mapping it into my text data object. For the keen eyes, this is a field expression. So basically what we've done is we've fully integrated field within BPMN as the expression language. And we went even further than that, so that when I'm doing my data mapping into this sentiment analysis from Microsoft, my data input mapping, again, here's a field expression, but that may be a little bit too complex for most people. So I could have just cleared it here. I'll clear this. Then I can use the field context expression. So I can build a context. It knows this. Then I'm going to put in here a relation. I'm going to put the ID, excuse me, 1, and I'm going to put here the variable text. So it knows that my data object is a name within my scope. I'm going to put that there. Close this. Close this. And now I'm getting a score out of this. And now I went and modified my data input mapping. And here I've put a little expression that if my sentiment score is lower than 0.3, flash red. If the sentiment is higher, flash green. So now I can similarly here, execution, publish, one-click publish. I have one more identity that I've put in there for this. I'm going to publish this. And now if you would, somebody would please tweet hashtag Trisotech and some comment, probably how great this demo is or whatever you want to say. And I'm waiting for you because I didn't prepare a tweet. So please, anybody, do some tweeting. Oh, flash 5-time green. So that was a positive comment. Thank you. I think things are positive. I like it. So let me refresh this. I'll delete this. Things are going well. I'm flashing green. Okay, so now. Actually, yes. Actually, yes. So now, let me go one further, and I'm going to introduce another form of AI, decision management, using DMN. So now I have the same thing. The stream goes in, the text gets sentiment analysis, I get a score, and then I'm feeding the score into a decision service. And this decision service is basically just a categorization where I'm saying, negative, neutral, and positive. So my decision service will look at this and tell me whether the comment was positive, negative, or neutral. And then I'm basically just flashing the light green, yellow, or red, depending on this. And you'll notice that my condition here is basically a field expression that says if sentiment equal positive out of the decision, do that. So it's that simple as that. Again, I can do a publish of this. So again, if somebody wants to tweet, I'm going to have this sentiment with category example. So what just happened now, oh, somebody went negative on me. So basically, what's happening here is what I created, in the light of what Sandy was saying, is you notice I had a process definition here that had a decision service in it. We actually embedded, because we're integrated bpmN and DMN together, we actually embedded this into one service, so a neutral comment. We embedded this into one monolithic, quote-unquote, microservice capability that got deployed and used, containing both that. And again, through here, that service, I can look at its Open API or its REST API and all this, and I can run tests on it. So I have everything available for that service. So here, I'm composing services out of services at the microservice level and this thing. So let me delete this. So now let's do a little bit more complex type of thing, and that's where I'll need the demo gods with me. So here I have a service, a process that is about marketing automation. So I'm basically got this service or this process that takes the customer information, looks at the geolocation of the customer, based on that, sends it to a decision model that will assign the proper sales team for the person, then creates a lead in Microsoft Dynamics, and then emails the person accordingly, whether they're a customer or a student for this. So what we've done, and the sales assignment is basically just a little decision table here. Depending on your world region, we're going to assign you to the Americas team or the EMEA team or APAC team. But I also did an exception there. If you're of the customer financial industry, I'm going to send you to the financial sales team. So now I'll ask you to go to trisotech.com/bpmNEXT 2019 to that URL. And I'll ask you to fill the form. So let's say I'm financial. I may have to, let me just rerun it to make sure. C-level. Financial. Okay, so if you did that, you will receive an email with copies of my slides attached, or a URL to it. It then generates leads into our CRM Dynamics. So I'm in Microsoft Dynamics in the sandbox. Misha did. I did in my demo. And then I can look at Misha's lead. And in there, there's a node to assign to the Americas team. That's why I did the financial example, because our IP address are all here right now. So we would all be US or Americas. So, oh, look at all those people that generated leads. You're going to be spammed by Trisotech. So you can see mine is assigned to the financial sales team. So basically, what's going on here is we're taking the IP address, geolocating it, feeding this to a decision to find which proper sales team to do, generating a lead in Dynamics, and then sending the email. So if you tagged it as a student, you will receive an email more oriented toward a student or anything. So we can do actual more complex environment of automation, marketing automation. This may not be all that complex. So here's another example. I'm not going to run this one because it requires so many other connections. So this is basically a case we're doing with the College of Gynecologists in the US. So this is hypothyroid disease in pregnancy, how the doctors treat that. We call those shareable clinical pathways. It's a new thing we've been working in for 2 years now with the healthcare side on how to express clinical ways of doing their care, providing the care, based on guidelines. So this is based out of a specific guidelines. And here, you'll notice that I have script task. And my script task, again, to the keen eyes, this is scripted using the field expression language. And in there, my objects here, my data are the FHIR standard. So the healthcare has a FHIR standard. So this is FHIR standard. And for those that know, these are SNOMED codes that I'm extracting. So we have full simplicity of this. This is a complex, semi-complex example where we're adjusting the dosage of the medication according to the lecture that we get from the patient's folder or information. And just because I couldn't resist, I'm going to do an RPA example. So bear with me. This is where I'm really stretching it. So here I have this little example where I'm calling this RPA, and hopefully it will work. Oh, and wait for the pen drop. And then I'm done. So hopefully I showcased to you the simplicity with which we can do simple processes and how we can do more complex processes using this new modern architecture of microservice and using the old stuff like bpmN and DMN and everything that we all come to love to this day. I'm open to questions. Thank you. Any questions? No? Okay, go ahead. François?
Should I understand that you have execution capacities of today?
Yes. This was our announcement that we now offer full execution of DMN and bpmN.
So somehow you have a complete platform from modeling, publishing, execution, documentation, and then imaging also.
Yes. So all the capabilities we had before are still there in modeling, from the strategic and the customer journey and everything. So all the strategic modeling, the business architecture modeling is still there. And on the operational edge, we now have the execution of decision and processes. Yes. Yes.
Why did you use RPA to do the click on this slide?
Yeah, it is a demo, and the demo gods have to be with you. I was just happy the light was flashing.
So your question is this all cloud-based or you have?
Yes, completely. So, well, I'll handle. So we can deploy whatever you want. So by default, we're completely browser-based modeling, cloud deployment, but we can deploy it in hybrid or on-premise. We're able to deploy on, and the SAP people will correct me, the old name was SAP HANA Cloud, and I don't know what the new name is, and we deployed on AWS, on Azure, we deployed, everything is containerized, so that simplifies a lot of this deployment. We work a lot with Red Hat, so we have great deployment in OpenShift and their environments.
Also going back to Stanley's recommendation, what about the code behind the scene? The artifact source code can be seen and version and lift, or is it just?
Yeah, so we have versioning at 2 levels. So you can actually, version your model, so the drawing, so at design time. So you can do all your versioning there, and so you can publish and you can version everything and version control there. And we also have versioning at the service level, where you can use, the latest version or any version and pick what you use, and then within this you can pick the sub. So what we do is we go beyond the spec. So for example, in DMN, we'll expose every single decision as an endpoint if you want. So even if you didn't design it to be a service, we'll expose it as a service. So you can go and pick within that decision model which sub-decision you want to execute. So, and you can version control that as well. And as I showed, we also have all the identity management. The goal here is to make it simple that business people can do it, but have all the expressiveness that bpmN can offer to the complexity of behaviors for the more advanced users and coders. And then again, you can go, and here I've showed mostly things that were prepackaged, machine learning and services and IoT. You can go and wrap your Java code into whatever you want and expose the API as an open API Swagger file. We just pull in the Swagger file in here, and we can consume it within the realm of all this. Yes?
So how much of the RPA did you specify on the bpmN model? Is it designated as a performer? What attributes did you attach around it?
Yeah, at this point, like, this was just a joke. But we do have the RPA. The current version that we do is just to call out a robot and use a robot. So the answer to your question is that we can use it in both modes. So you can use an RPA task and put an RPA task within your flow, or you can choose the RPA as the performer for the task. Yeah.
So you actually have an RPA task type now in the tool?
No, not specific. Well,
Do you have any intentions to create an extension?
so I'm not going to say anything, but if you can identify 2 RPA companies in there.
Can't quite see in particular.
So yeah, so the name of the game here, naturally, for us to compete with IFTT and Microsoft Flow and Zapier, it's the large library of pre-specified connectors. To our advantage now is we're sitting on OpenAPI, and we've been sitting on OpenAPI for quite a time, and most of them expose their services as OpenAPI. So for us, it's a single integration. And really, most of these connectors that are shown in the connector list here, I can recreate directly by using this here and importing these services there as Swagger service. And then what I can do is I can just bring in a task, make this task a service task. Well, I'm at the wrong place. There's no, let me get where I'm going to see something because there's nothing here. Sorry about that. So I'm going to take in a task, call it whatever, make this a service task, and then I can go and select out of the services that are exposed which one I want to use. So if I want to use Microsoft Text Analysis API, I can select the operation that I want. So I may want to identify entities, and then I can do my data input mapping, and the box context will give me to my structure of whether I want to put a literal expression there or whatever. So basically, the Swagger file gives us all the structure of the API, of the parameters, and we're reflecting this as field types right there. So you can consume it as field types. And we did a better integration with DMN in the sense that you may have noticed I wasn't consuming DMN as a service. It was part of it, so I embedded DMN into that. But you could also just take, for example, if I take this particular sentiment category, and if I go and I publish this as a service, so here now I have sentiment category, and I can just go and download the API of this, and then where was I? I did that here. Yes. So I could go here, go into bpmN, then import, go into download. Hopefully it's there. And now I have this with its operation that is available. So I can basically, disconnect that, go and pick here, sentiment category. There's only one decision in there, execute that. And then I have my data input that requires my body, and I can look. So it's looking for a score, and I can map a variable to it, or I can put any value there that I want. It could be a constant, could be out of a data object. So for example, if I create a new data object, so if I create a new data object that I call demo, then I can make this data object, I'll make this of type number again, and then I just provide this as an input. Oh, I didn't connect. So sorry, that's what doing demo. So I need a data association. So I'll put a data association to this here. So now when I go to look at this and I go to look at my data, you see demo is within my scope now.
Denis, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.